So it all started on this totally random Tuesday afternoon when Katie was just chilling in her room, scrolling through Roblox, you know, the usual. Her phone started buzzing like crazy and she's like, oh god, what now? It was the group chat, obviously, because that's where literally everything goes down these days. Katie opened the chat and there was Thomas already being weird as usual, sending random memes and stuff. Then Tobias joined and Katie's heart literally did that stupid flutter thing it always does when she sees his username pop up. She's been crushing on this bacon-haired dude for literal months now and nobody knows, well except maybe her best friend Jane, but that's different. Wait no, not that Jane. Ugh. This is confusing, let me explain. So there's two Janes in this story, right? There's Katie's granny who's also named Jane, because apparently her parents thought it would be totally hilarious to name her after her grandmother, and then there's Jane, Katie's actual friend who's also in the group chat. I know, super confusing, but just roll with it. Anyway, Thomas started typing and everyone could see those three little dots bouncing around. Katie was already nervous because Thomas literally never has anything normal to say, like ever. The dude thrives on chaos and drama, it's actually insane. Yo yo yo, guess what guys, Thomas typed, and Katie could literally feel the trouble coming through the screen. What now, Thomas? Jane, her friend, replied with like a million eye roll emojis. I got a challenge for someone, Thomas wrote back, and Katie was already like, nope, not today Satan, whatever this is, I'm out. But then Tobias, sweet innocent bacon-haired Tobias, was like, oh bet, what's the challenge bro? Katie's stomach literally dropped because she knew Thomas was about to suggest something absolutely unhinged. That's just how he operates, you know? The guy has zero chill whatsoever. So there's this trend going around, Thomas started explaining, and Katie was frantically typing trying to change the subject, but Thomas was faster. Where you gotta kiss someone random for Robux, right? And I'm thinking, Tobias my guy, what if I gave you 25 Robux to kiss someone? Katie literally froze. Her thumbs hovered over her phone screen and she was internally screaming because what if Thomas was about to suggest Tobias kiss her? But then also, what if he wasn't? And why did she even care so much? This was so embarrassing. Ugh. Bro, that's kinda sus, Tobias replied with a laughing emoji, but you could tell he was curious because Tobias literally never turns down Robux, ever. The dude's always broke in Roblox, it's actually sad. Jane, Katie's friend, jumped in wait hold up, kiss who exactly? Because if this is some weird prank I'm literally leaving this group chat right now. Nah. Hear me out, Thomas typed super fast, and Katie could picture him grinning like an absolute menace behind his screen. What if, and this is just a thought, what if Tobias kissed Katie's granny for the Robux? The group chat literally exploded. Katie's phone was vibrating so much it almost fell off her bed. Jane was sending laughing emojis, Tobias was like wait what, and Katie herself was just sitting there in complete shock, her mouth hanging open like a total idiot. Thomas what is wrong with you? Katie finally managed to type in all caps, her fingers shaking because she was so mortified. Why would he even suggest that? Her granny Jane was literally the sweetest old lady ever, she'd probably have a heart attack if some random bacon-haired teenager tried to kiss her. I'm just saying, Thomas continued, clearly enjoying the chaos he created, 25 Robux is 25 Robux, and your granny seems pretty cool from what you've told us. I bet she'd think it's funny. She would literally not think it's funny, Thomas, oh my god, Katie replied, but part of her was also dying inside because Tobias hadn't said no yet. He wasn't immediately shutting down the idea, which was either really good or really bad, Katie couldn't decide which. Tobias sent a thinking emoji and then typed, I mean, is your granny even cool with random people? Would she actually be chill about it or? And Katie was internally panicking because now she had to actually think about this. Her granny Jane was super sweet and loved meeting Katie's friends, but this was next level weird. Who asks their friend if they can kiss their grandma for virtual currency? This was absolutely insane. Guys, can we please talk about literally anything else? Katie pleaded, trying desperately to change the subject. Like, did anyone see that new update in Adopt Me? But Thomas was relentless, obviously.
Nah.
We're not done with this yet. Tobias, you in or you out? Don't be scared, bro, it's just a little kiss on the cheek, nothing weird. Jane, her friend, suddenly went quiet in the chat, which was actually really suspicious because Jane always had something to say. Then after like a whole minute of silence, she sent, "Wait, Katie, aren't you like totally into Tobias though?" Katie's entire soul left her body in that moment. Like, she literally wanted to disappear into thin air and never come back. Her face was burning so hot she could probably cook an egg on it, and her hands were shaking as she frantically tried to type a response. "Jane, what the heck?" Katie wrote, adding like 17 angry emojis because she was freaking out. "Why would you even say that? Oh my god." "Wait, what?" Tobias typed in all caps, and Katie could practically hear the confusion in his message. "Katie, you like me?" Thomas was losing his mind, sending laughing emojis and crying faces and being absolutely no help whatsoever. "Bro, this just got so much better," he wrote, clearly living for the drama. Katie wanted to kill Jane, like literally, metaphorically kill her. Why would she expose her like that in the group chat? That's like, against best friend code or something. You don't just out your friend's crush in front of said crush, that's literally rule number 1 of friendship. I mean, like, not like, Katie tried to backtrack, but it was way too late for that. The damage was done, the cat was out of the bag, whatever metaphor you want to use. Jane's just being weird and dramatic, ignore her. But Tobias wasn't letting it go.
Nah.
But like, do you though? Because that's actually pretty cool if you do, not gonna lie. Katie's heart was beating so fast she thought it might actually explode out of her chest. Did Tobias just say that was cool? Like, in a good way? Or was he just being nice? Boys are literally so confusing, it's actually ridiculous. "Can we please go back to the granny kissing thing?" Katie typed, which was insane because she'd literally wanted to drop that topic 2 seconds ago, but now it seemed way less embarrassing than talking about her feelings. Like, Thomas, that's still a super weird challenge and I don't think my granny would appreciate it. "Your granny literally loves me though," Tobias pointed out, which was actually true. Last time Tobias came over to Katie's house to work on a school project, her granny Jane had made them cookies and told Tobias he was welcome anytime. She'd even pinched his cheeks and called him adorable, which was mortifying but also kind of cute. Thomas jumped back and like, see? She loves him. This is perfect. Tobias, go to Katie's house right now and claim your 25 Robux. It's literally 8 p.m. on a Tuesday, Thomas, are you insane? Katie replied, but honestly at this point nothing surprised her anymore. This whole conversation had gone completely off the rails, and there was no getting it back on track. Jane, her friend not her granny, finally spoke up again. "Okay, but real talk, if Tobias actually does this, I want video proof because otherwise I'm calling BS. Jane, stop encouraging him," Katie typed frantically, but she was also kind of curious now. Like, would Tobias actually do it? Would he really go to her house and try to kiss her 70-year-old grandmother for 25 Robux? That's absolutely mental. "I'll do it," Tobias suddenly declared, and Katie literally gasped out loud in her empty room. But only if Katie's cool with it, obviously. Like, I'm not gonna just show up at your house uninvited, that's weird. Katie stared at her phone screen, reading and rereading Tobias's message like 5 times. He was actually considering this? This was actually happening? What was her life right now? "This is so stupid," Katie typed, but then added, "but like, if you really want to I guess? My granny's probably still awake watching her soap operas or whatever." Thomas sent approximately 50 excited emojis and then wrote, yes, this is gonna be legendary. "Tobias, you better not chicken out, bro." "I'm not gonna chicken out," Tobias replied, and Katie could tell he was probably grinning because he types different when he's excited. "But Katie, you gotta warn your granny first so she doesn't think I'm a total weirdo just showing up randomly." That was actually a fair point, Katie thought. She couldn't just let Tobias surprise attack her grandmother with a kiss, that would be absolutely chaotic. So she put her phone down and went downstairs where her granny was indeed watching TV in the living room, just like Katie predicted. "Hey, Granny Jane," Katie started, trying to figure out how to explain this situation without sounding completely insane. "So like, my friend Tobias, you remember him, right? The one with the bacon hair avatar on Roblox?" Her granny looked up from the TV and smiled. "Oh yes, dear, such a sweet boy. He loved my cookies last time."
Yeah.
"So, this is gonna sound really weird," Katie continued, fidgeting with her phone. "But my friends made this challenge thing and basically Tobias is supposed to kiss you on the cheek for Robux, and I know it sounds super bizarre, but I just wanted to ask if you'd be okay with it." Her granny literally started laughing, like full-on giggling, which Katie did not expect at all. "Oh honey, kids these days with your internet challenges. Sure, why not? It sounds harmless enough. When's he coming over?" Katie couldn't believe her granny was actually cool with this. Like, what grandma just agrees to let her granddaughter's friend kiss her for virtual currency? This was so surreal. She ran back upstairs and typed in the group chat, "Okay, so my granny said yes," which is actually insane, but whatever. "Tobias, when are you coming?" "Give me like 20 minutes, Tobias replied. "I'm gonna grab my phone so Jane can FaceTime us for proof." Jane, the friend, sent a bunch of popcorn emojis like she was settling in for a show. This is literally the most entertaining thing that's happened all week, no cap. Thomas was practically bouncing off the walls through his messages. "Bro, I can't believe this is actually happening. Tobias, you're a legend for this." Katie sat on her bed, her stomach doing weird flips and turns. This was so bizarre. In like 20 minutes, her crush was going to come to her house and kiss her grandmother for a challenge. What was her life? How did it come to this? The 20 minutes felt like both an eternity and 2 seconds at the same time. Katie kept checking the group chat obsessively, watching as Tobias sent updates like, "Leaving my house now," and, "Okay, I'm halfway there," and, "This is so weird but also kind of hilarious." Finally, the doorbell rang and Katie literally jumped off her bed. Her granny called from downstairs, "Katie dear, your friend is here." Katie ran down the stairs and opened the door, and there was Tobias, looking slightly nervous but also trying to play it cool. He was holding his phone and wearing a hoodie even though it wasn't that cold out. "Hey," he said, grinning awkwardly. "So, we're really doing this?" "I guess we are," Katie replied, stepping aside to let him in. Her heart was pounding so loud she was pretty sure everyone in the house could hear it. They walked into the living room where Granny Jane was waiting, and she looked absolutely delighted by this whole situation. "Hello Tobias. I hear you're here for a kiss?" Tobias actually blushed, which was pretty cute, not gonna lie. "Yes, ma'am, if that's okay with you. It's for this dumb challenge thing." "Oh, I think it's rather sweet," Granny Jane said, standing up from her chair. "But first, let me get your friends on the phone, they'll want to see this I'm sure." Katie pulled out her phone and called Jane, who answered immediately. Thomas's face was also squeezed into the frame, both of them looking way too excited about this whole thing. "Oh my god, it's happening," Jane practically screamed through the phone. "Tobias, don't chicken out now, bro." "I'm not chickening out," Tobias said defensively, but he looked at Katie like he was seeking some kind of approval or something. Katie just shrugged and tried to act casual even though her insides were going absolutely crazy. Granny Jane stood there with her arms crossed, smiling warmly. "All right, young man, whenever you're ready." Tobias took a deep breath, and Katie noticed his hands were actually shaking a little bit, which was kind of endearing. He stepped forward and quickly kissed Granny Jane on the cheek, and her grandmother laughed and patted his shoulder. "There you go. Was that so difficult?" Granny Jane asked, clearly amused by the whole situation. The group chat was absolutely losing it. Thomas was practically screaming through the phone, "He did it. He actually did it. Bro, you're insane." Jane was crying laughing, like actual tears streaming down her face. "I can't believe I just witnessed that, oh my god. That was legendary." Katie was just standing there, watching the whole scene unfold, and part of her felt weirdly jealous. Like, Tobias just kissed her granny and everyone was making such a big deal about it, and meanwhile Katie's been crushing on this boy for months and he doesn't even notice. It was kind of frustrating actually. Alright Thomas, pay up, Tobias said into the phone, looking proud of himself. That's 25 Robux you owe me.
Yeah.
I'll send it right now, Thomas replied, still grinning like an idiot. Dude, that was actually so funny though. Granny Jane excused herself to go make some tea, leaving Katie and Tobias alone in the living room. The phone call was still going but Jane and Thomas had started talking about something else, giving them a moment of semi-privacy. So, Tobias started, shoving his hands in his hoodie pockets. About what Jane said earlier in the chat. About you liking me? Katie literally wanted to die. Like, this was it, this was how she was going to go out, from pure embarrassment in her own living room. She was just being dumb, don't worry about it. But like, what if I want to worry about it? Tobias said, and Katie looked up at him in surprise. He was doing that thing where he wouldn't make eye contact, staring at his shoes instead. Because like, I think you're pretty cool too. Like, really cool actually. Katie's brain short-circuited. Did Tobias just basically admit he liked her back? Was this real life? Was she dreaming? Should she pinch herself to make sure? Wait, seriously, she managed to squeak out, her voice going all high-pitched and weird.
Yeah.
Seriously, Tobias said, finally looking at her and smiling kind of shyly. I've thought you were cool for a while now, I just didn't know how to say it without being weird, you know? Before Katie could respond, Jane's voice came shrieking through the phone. Oh my god, are you two having a moment right now? Thomas, are you seeing this? Both Katie and Tobias jumped, having completely forgotten they were still on the call. Thomas's face appeared on screen again, looking absolutely delighted. Bro, this is better than the granny kiss. This is actual cinema. Guys, can you not? Katie yelled at the phone, her face burning with embarrassment. She grabbed it and hung up on them, much to their protests that she could hear echoing before the call ended. Tobias was laughing now, the awkward tension broken. Your friends are actually insane. Tell me about it, Katie replied, laughing too even though she was still mortified. They have zero chill whatsoever. Her phone immediately started blowing up with messages from the group chat. Jane was sending approximately 1 million messages per second, all in caps, freaking out about what just happened. Thomas was adding rocket emojis and saying something about this being the best day ever. But then Katie noticed something. Like, actually noticed it and it made her stomach twist in a weird way. She saw a message from Thomas that said, Bro, Tobias kissed the granny, you think he'd kiss Katie for 50 Robux? And Jane responded with laughing emojis and wrote, honestly at this point he'd probably do it for free. Katie felt her chest get tight. Like, was that all this was? Another challenge? Another stupid joke for the group chat? Did Tobias actually like her or was he just playing along because it was funny? Hey, you okay? Tobias asked, noticing Katie had gotten quiet and was staring at her phone with a weird expression.
Yeah.
I'm fine, Katie lied, but she wasn't fine at all. She was actually kind of hurt. Like, the whole granny kissing thing had been stupid and funny, but now she was wondering if Tobias saying he liked her was just part of the joke too. Katie, seriously, what's wrong? Tobias pressed, looking genuinely concerned now. Katie showed him the messages from Thomas and Jane, and watched as his expression changed from confused to annoyed. Are they serious right now? That's actually messed up. I mean, they're just joking around, Katie said, trying to play it off even though it bothered her more than she wanted to admit. No, like, that's actually not cool, Tobias said firmly. He grabbed his phone and opened the group chat, his fingers flying across the keyboard. Katie watched as he typed out a long message. Yo Thomas and Jane, real talk right now. I didn't tell Katie I liked her because of some challenge or for Robux or whatever. I actually genuinely like her and have for a while now. So can you guys chill with the jokes and treating everything like it's some kind of content for the group chat? That's actually really annoying and kind of hurtful. Katie's heart literally melted reading that message. Like, Tobias was actually standing up for her and their feelings in front of their friends. That was actually really sweet. The group chat went silent for a minute, which was rare because usually someone was always typing. Then Jane sent a message that said, "Oh shite, sorry guys. I didn't realize we were being that annoying about it. That's my bad, for real." Thomas added,
Yeah.
"Bro, sorry. I was just having fun with the whole thing but I didn't mean to make it weird or anything. My bad dude." Tobias looked at Katie and shrugged. I mean, they're still kind of idiots, but at least they apologized.
Yeah.
Katie agreed, smiling now because honestly, this whole situation was absolutely ridiculous but also kind of perfect in a weird way. Granny Jane came back with tea and cookies, completely oblivious to the drama that had just unfolded. "Are you staying for a bit, Tobias?" "You should, I made extra cookies." "I'd love to, Mrs. Jane," Tobias said politely, and Katie's heart did that stupid flutter thing again. They all sat in the living room, eating cookies and drinking tea while Granny Jane told embarrassing stories about Katie as a kid. Katie kept trying to stop her, but Tobias seemed to think the stories were hilarious, which was both mortifying and kind of sweet. Meanwhile, the group chat was blowing up again, but this time with actually supportive messages. Jane was sending heart emojis and saying how cute Katie and Tobias were together. Thomas was being less chaotic and more genuine, saying he was happy for them. "So like, are we gonna tell people at school?" Tobias asked during a quiet moment when Granny Jane had gone to get more tea. Katie thought about it for a second. "I mean, if you want to? I don't really care either way honestly." "Cool."
Yeah.
"Me neither," Tobias agreed. "Let's just see what happens naturally, you know?" That night, after Tobias had gone home and Katie was lying in bed scrolling through her phone, she thought about how absolutely wild the whole day had been. Like, it started with a stupid challenge about kissing her grandma for Robux and ended with her crush admitting he liked her back. Life was weird sometimes. Jane sent her a private message that said, "Hey, sorry again for being weird earlier. I'm really happy for you though, for real. Tobias is a good guy." "Thanks bestie," Katie replied. And,
Yeah.
"He really is." Thomas also sent a message, surprisingly sincere. "Yo Katie, I know I joke around a lot but I'm genuinely happy you and Tobias figured things out. You guys are cute together. Also, your granny is actually a legend for being cool with that whole kiss thing." Katie smiled and replied to both of them, feeling grateful for her chaotic but ultimately supportive friends. The next day at school was absolutely insane though. Like, apparently someone had seen the group chat messages or Tobias had told someone, because suddenly everyone knew that Katie and Tobias were like, a thing? Sort of. They hadn't really defined it but people were already making assumptions. "Yo Katie," some random kid from her English class called out at lunch. "Is it true Tobias kissed your grandma for Robux?" Katie literally facepalmed. Of course that was the part people focused on. Not that she and Tobias liked each other, but the absolutely bizarre granny kissing challenge. Tobias appeared next to her, laughing. "Bro, word travels fast apparently." "Too fast," Katie groaned, but she was smiling because honestly, it was pretty funny when you thought about it. They sat together at lunch, which was new and kind of nerve-wracking but also really nice. Jane and Thomas joined them, and for once Thomas didn't immediately start chaos. So, Jane started, grinning mischievously. "When's the wedding?" "Jane," both Katie and Tobias yelled at the same time, which made everyone at the table crack up laughing. "I'm just saying," Jane continued, clearly enjoying herself. "If you're already meeting each other's grandmas and kissing them, that's like, pretty serious." "That's not how that works," Katie said, throwing a French fry at Jane. "Also, you're literally the worst." "She's got a point though," Thomas added, dodging the fry that Katie threw next. "That was pretty bold, Tobias. Most guys wait at least 3 dates before meeting the family." Tobias was laughing so hard he almost choked on his sandwich. "You guys are absolutely unhinged, you know that?" That's why you love us, Jane said smugly, stealing one of Thomas's chips. The rest of lunch was actually really fun. They joked around, talked about upcoming tests and projects, and made plans to play Roblox together later that night. It felt normal and comfortable, like how things had always been but also different in a good way. After school, Katie walked home with Tobias since they lived in the same direction anyway. It was kind of awkward at first because neither of them really knew what to say now that they'd admitted they liked each other. So, Tobias finally broke the silence. This is kind of weird, right? Like, good weird, but still weird. Super weird, Katie agreed. But,
Yeah.
good weird. They walked in comfortable silence for a bit before Tobias spoke again. Hey, you wanna maybe hang out this weekend? Like, just us? No crazy group chat challenges or anything, just like, normal hanging out. Katie's heart raced but she tried to play it cool.
Yeah.
That sounds really nice actually. What do you want to do? I don't know, maybe we could go to that new arcade that opened downtown? Or we could just chill and play games at my place, whatever you want. Arcade sounds fun, Katie said, and she couldn't help but smile. When she got home, Granny Jane was waiting with that knowing look grandmas always have. So, how was school, dear? How's young Tobias? Granny, oh my god, Katie groaned, but she was smiling. He's fine. We're going to the arcade this weekend. Oh, a date. How lovely, Granny Jane said, clapping her hands together. It's not a date. Katie insisted, even though it totally was a date. Sure dear, her granny replied, clearly not believing her. You know, when I was your age. Granny please, not another story, Katie begged, but she settled in to listen anyway because honestly, her grandmother's stories were actually pretty interesting once you got past the old-timey language. That night, the group chat was relatively calm for once. They played some games together on Roblox, and it was nice to just hang out without any drama or weird challenges. Well, until Thomas suggested they all play truth or dare in the game, which Katie immediately vetoed. Absolutely not, she typed in the chat. We've had enough drama for 1 week, thank you very much. Katie's right, Tobias agreed. Let's just play normal games and vibe. You guys are so boring now that you're like, together, Thomas complained, but he was joking and everyone knew it. We're not boring, we're just done with your chaos, Katie shot back, adding a tongue-out emoji. Jane laughed through her mic. Honestly though, you two are kind of cute. Like, in a gross couple Y way, but still cute. We're not even officially together, Tobias pointed out, though he didn't sound opposed to the idea. Yet, Thomas added helpfully. Not together yet. Katie rolled her eyes but couldn't help smiling. Her friends were absolutely ridiculous and chaotic and sometimes way too much, but they were also the best. Even if they did convince her crush to kiss her grandmother for 25 Robux, which was probably the weirdest thing that had ever happened in her life. The weekend came faster than Katie expected, and suddenly it was Saturday morning and she was standing in front of her closet having a complete meltdown about what to wear to the arcade. She must have tried on like 15 different outfits before finally settling on jeans and a cute top that looked casual but still nice. You look lovely, dear, Granny Jane said when Katie came downstairs. Thanks Granny, Katie replied, nervously checking her phone. Tobias had said he'd pick her up at noon, and it was currently 11:45. The doorbell rang at exactly noon, because apparently Tobias was one of those people who was always exactly on time. Katie opened the door and her breath literally caught because Tobias had actually put effort into his appearance too. He was wearing a clean hoodie and actually styled his hair instead of just letting it flop around randomly. Hey, he said, smiling nervously. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's go, Katie replied, grabbing her bag. You two have fun. Granny Jane called from the living room. Don't stay out too late. The walk to the arcade was filled with easy conversation about school, games, and their friends' latest antics. Thomas had apparently tried to start another challenge in the group chat that morning, something about eating spicy chips, but Jane had shut it down immediately. He never learns, Tobias said, laughing. Like, we literally just dealt with one of his challenges, and he's already trying to start another one. That's just Thomas being Thomas, Katie agreed. He lives for the chaos. The arcade was actually really cool. It had all the classic games plus some new VR stuff that looked absolutely insane. They got tokens and started playing, and Katie quickly discovered that Tobias was weirdly good at those claw machine games. "How are you doing that?" she asked, watching him win his third stuffed animal in a row. "I don't know, I just have a talent for it I guess," Tobias said, grinning and handing her a purple teddy bear. "Here, you can have this one." Katie took the bear, her face heating up because that was actually really sweet. "Thanks. I'm naming him Mr. Snuggles." "Mr. Snuggles? Really?" Tobias laughed. "It's a good name." Katie defended, hugging the bear. They played air hockey next, which got surprisingly competitive. Katie was actually winning until the last minute when Tobias managed to score 3 goals in a row. "That's so unfair." Katie protested, but she was laughing. "You were talking trash like 2 minutes ago," Tobias pointed out. "I had to defend my honor." They ended up staying at the arcade for like 3 hours, playing every game they could find and racking up tickets to exchange for prizes. By the end, they had enough for some candy and a couple of cheap toys, which they split between them. On the way home, they stopped at a cafe and got smoothies. Katie got strawberry and Tobias got mango, and they sat outside on the patio talking about everything and nothing. "This was really fun," Tobias said after a while. "We should do it again sometime." "Definitely," Katie agreed, sipping her smoothie. "Maybe next time without the group chat knowing about it though. They're gonna want a full report when we get home." "Oh for sure," Tobias laughed. "Jane's probably already got like 50 questions ready." He was right. As soon as Katie got home and opened the group chat, there were literally dozens of messages from Jane and Thomas asking how it went, if they kissed yet, and other embarrassing questions. "You guys need hobbies," Katie typed back. "Helping you with your love life is my hobby," Jane replied immediately. Tobias joined the chat. "It went great, thanks for asking. Also, can you guys be normal for like 5 seconds? Where's the fun in that?" Thomas wrote back. Despite the teasing, Katie could tell her friends were genuinely happy for her and Tobias. Even when they were being chaotic and annoying, they ultimately wanted good things for their friends. The next few weeks were honestly pretty great. Katie and Tobias hung out more, both with the group chat and just the two of them. They still hadn't put an official label on whatever they were, but it didn't really matter. They liked each other, everyone knew it, and that was enough for now. Of course, Thomas couldn't help himself and kept trying to create new challenges for the group chat. Most of them got immediately vetoed, but occasionally they do something harmless like a building competition in Roblox or a screenshot challenge. One day, about a month after the infamous Granny kissing incident, Granny Jane pulled Katie aside. "So, dear, things seem to be going well with young Tobias?"
"Yeah."
"Granny, they are," Katie admitted, smiling. "Good. He's a sweet boy. Though I still think it's hilarious that he kissed me for video game money," her grandmother chuckled. "Granny, that's literally so embarrassing," Katie groaned. "Oh hush, it's a wonderful story. I've been telling all my friends at Bridge Club," Granny Jane said, looking far too pleased with herself. "Granny and oh," Katie practically shouted, mortified. But honestly, looking back on everything, the whole situation was pretty funny. Like,
"Yeah."
It started with the weirdest challenge ever, but it also led to Katie and Tobias finally being honest about their feelings. Sometimes the most chaotic moments lead to the best outcomes. The group chat was still as crazy as ever. Thomas still suggested ridiculous challenges weekly. Jane still spilled everyone's secrets at the worst possible moments. And Katie and Tobias? They were just vibing, taking things day by day, and trying to survive their friends' chaos. One night, when they were all playing Roblox together, Thomas brought up the challenge again. "Hey, Tobias, you know what? I still can't believe you actually kissed Katie's granny for 25 Robux. That's insane." Honestly, looking back, I can't believe it either, Tobias admitted, laughing. But hey, it worked out pretty well in the end.
Yeah.
It did, Katie agreed, and even though her friends couldn't see her, she was blushing. Oh my god, you guys are so cute, it's gross, Jane screamed through her mic. Jane, I will literally mute you, Katie threatened. Do it, I dare you, Jane challenged. Guys, can we please just play the game? Tobias asked, laughing at their bickering. And that's pretty much how things were in their group chat. Chaotic, loud, embarrassing, but also full of genuine friendship and support. Sure, Thomas's challenges were usually terrible ideas, and Jane had zero filter, but they were still the best friends anyone could ask for. Katie often thought about how weird life was. Like, a few months ago, she was just silently crushing on Tobias, too scared to say anything. And now. They were hanging out regularly, going on dates, and everyone knew they liked each other. All because of one ridiculous challenge involving her grandmother and 25 Robux. It just goes to show that sometimes the most unexpected moments lead to the best memories. Even if those moments involve your bacon-haired crush kissing your elderly grandmother for video game currency while your friends watch through FaceTime, losing their absolute minds. Life was weird, the group chat was chaos, and Katie wouldn't have it any other way.